Cinemas, Palmax, Cinemillion, Penimenti, Udubentus, Nemenes. And yes, of course, and here we have Francis. It's a bit of ancient Greek, pantheon kind of joke mockery. Yes, of course, we have Francis. And Jesus, of course, is known for letting the blind see and the lame walk. Though Francis is yet both blind and lame. Oh, how reassuring to Christianity. Surely Christ is with your Christian leader, who is both blind and lame. Wheeled around the world in his little black throne, apologising. You can fucking get in queue, Francis. Francis supported, along with France, the murder rapist, degenerate, brothel running, crack dealing, misogynistic, home wrecking mafia from Ireland, Sinn Féin Mafia. Francis supported them. There's a little scummer called PJ, and he gives to all PJ my old rays. Old rays are your history, basically your life, your entire life up until now. And they divide it all up. And he gives PJ all my orreries and all my dignity, and he gives this little rat urchin all my names and all my old rays. And this little degenerate little wanker rat is running around celebrating living in Manhattan or something, thinking he's a legend. I was wondering why, and I've been wondering why desperately for 8 years. I live in a nightmare, as I might have expressed in the universe, and I can't understand why are they working with the rapists, murderers, and mafia, degenerate criminals, and not the one person who started it all, that they're stalking and hunting me constantly. Like they're not aware of this. So my whole life is a nightmare. I was like, why is everybody supporting the horrible monster, rapist, murderers, mafia? And like, where are the good guys in life? I remember crying before. I was like, well, where are the good guys? I remember even crying once before. I was like, when I was homeless, I was like, why don't you love me, Francis? Why don't you love me? And I really have had very little mind power, but I've had to consider why. Why did they rob me? And, there's very little other reasoning, but they found reflection and similarity in these people. And they found no reflection and similarity in the celibate, kind, caring, loving, servile, decade, chastity, sainted Bartholomew, Michael, who else, Francis? And they wouldn't work with me. And I was like, they wouldn't work with me. They left me, my family, and my friends to be hunted, robbed, and raped like Christianity and persecute Christianity. Rome did this originally. You know what I mean? I thought it had changed, but clearly, Rome also persecuted, hunted, murdered, worked with mafias, gangsters, Babylonian merchants to kill and suppress Christianity. And they had to run very far away. They ran all the way to Ireland, ran all the way to like higher Western Europe, they ran all the way up to Scandinavia and stuff. And they ran very, very, very far away, and places that received them well were very well blessed. Like Ireland used to be very well blessed because you received them. Now you're born your own Israel, and you treated me like crap, which is like the essence of essences, and you treated me like absolute crap as well. So Christianity is not Christianity, but like, you just spoiled your Christianity, you spoiled the bread now. And you have spilled blood and stuff in the name of myself killing in the name. So you will drink the blood. You will drink that blood that you have spilled. They're killing stuff and doing terrible stuff all the time to remain true, or to remain cut off, basically. I've explained this, to remain completely self-condemned, and they're murdering stuff all the time in Donegal, and they're murdering kids and women and stuff to remain condemned, you know what I mean? They're like Liberians nowadays. I don't think against Liberia, they were tricked and fooled as well, but Ireland is no more or less sophisticated than people who were naively fooled in Liberia to do terrible things for Rockefellers or police people in Miami. I'm so terrified for like Haiti and Jamaica. I had no idea these places were so close to Florida. And the Bermuda Triangle is right next to Florida, so that's no mystery to me. I thought the Bermuda Triangle was down off like Australia somewhere in the South Pacific. That's no mystery to me. It's right next to Florida. What else? Yeah, I feel so bad for those countries being right next to fucking Florida, man. Kids go and disappearing in Haiti all the time, I'd say. They just keep it they keep it as terrible and socially deprived as possible so that their children can just disappear, and it's very regular for kids to just disappear in Haiti. For Florida, definitely. 100%, 100,000%. So yeah, and all these disasters are terrible as well, because all the kids are probably just disappearing from all the flood zoning and stuff. So you're going to find a lot of kiddie porn dungeons out in Florida. So you're going to find a lot of kids in basements flooding. They flood the areas where the children are being coveted and abused, where women are being coveted and abused, will be blatantly flooded. If I was the Pope, I'd be putting you know, these inquiries like the Spanish Inquisition. I'd have them rolling all over the world, you know what I mean? And I'd be right in there. With no war in Ukraine, I would have completely stopped the war in Ukraine. Nobody would be attacking the Middle East there, Biden, if I was Pope. You know, the Pope comes out, okay, the Bishop of Africa comes out with stuff like he's not happy with the new Katy Perry song or something like this, you know, I kissed a girl and I like it. It shows where his priorities are sitting around watching the football matches and girl is dancing and singing on TV. He criticised Christina Aguilera, I think, recently because she had a T-shirt that said "Forgiven." No, I don't think it's freedom. I think it was "Forgiven." A little Christian kind of thing. She is Christianity. She's Christianity. And her name's Christina. You know, he complained about that. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I see a lot of girls going around with like "slave" written on their tops these days, and "juicy," or you know what I mean, horrible things written on girls' tops these days, "servant" or whatever. So putting a very popular female, what's the word I'm looking for? A very popular role model for women all over the world to have freedom written on her top, or sorry, forgiven written on her top. At least it'll put the thought of forgiveness or reality or redemptions and stuff into girls' minds instead of "juicy" or, you know, put it in or whatever they have on their tops. But he had a problem with this, you know what I mean? I think it's kind of clever and cool. It's like, well, at least girls who like might be looking at Christina and say, am I forgiven? Maybe I need to be. I wouldn't worry too badly. You find your way in life in your own time. You have lots of time. You'll get there eventually. Everyone will get there if you take your time. Francis had no problem, however, or made no public statement when 900 Christians got burnt alive in a church in Africa. Probably under the corrupt Christianity of Derek and Damien Rockefeller. Like, they've destroyed Christianity. Pope doesn't do anything about that. He's not putting a Holy Inquisition on Florida or New Ray or Damien or Vanderburgs. He's not like, you know, he chickens out to these people. He chickens out and backs down to them all the time. I couldn't believe it. You know, he backs down to Rockefeller. I was like, these people are murderous trash, Francis. Grow a pair of balls. The power of Christianity in you. He's just another merchant. He's just another merchant. They copy the Pope, so the Pope would have priests kill themselves and stuff on a regular basis to maintain some sort of satanic hierarchy in the stars. And then everyone copies him and kills loads of kids and children all over the world copying the stupid Pope and kills people all over the world. So, like, he probably tolerates these 900 children being burnt alive in Africa as if it's breakfast to him. It's normal, but, you know, Christina Aguilera's T-shirt is, you know, must be commented on. He didn't say anything about Ukraine until I called him out on it, and then he's had some crappy speeches about Ukraine. I would have very, very easily shamed them all out of it. I was like, just very plainly, you all have much higher engagements and commitments in life than your socio and political leaders around you. I'd like to remind you that these political leaders come and go and come and go. You have an eternal Lord, Jesus, and these are all Christians, and these are not able to harm each other. You're explicitly not supposed to harm each other if these are all Christians. And Ukraine versus Zelensky just so happens to be Jewish, but that just so happens to be. They are all Christians fighting one another, and it is apocalyptic. You're going to lose a lot of Christianity for your friends and your family and your futures. So I would have easily just shamed them all about that. And I was like, wave a white flag. Any soldier, you know, that's going with Christ instead. And if everybody just waves white flags on both sides, you're going with Christ, then you overcame your politicians, and you don't care about NATO weapons or political stuff and their political bullshit, and everyone would have got out, and everyone would have been waving white flags for Christianity over politics. Don't harm Christ, don't harm the blood and flesh and blood Christ of your brothers. It all falls apart. So I'd easily have stopped that, you know, with my Christian powers and my Christian understanding. Where's the Pope? And watching the football while Brazil floods. I reckon the church that he built originally, God told him to build and rebuild my church, and he went around the corner in Brazil and helped rebuild the local church. I was like, that's flattering and childish of you. I wanted you to do great works in the world, not rebuild a fucking church in Brazil. I heard it got flooded out anyway with all the flooding in Brazil. So now you can see what Brazil's tolerating anyway. The places are blatantly being flooded and destroyed. And see what France blatantly tolerates. Yeah, Pope, Christianity, 900 Christians burnt alive. Wonder about that Cop church as well, that loads of kids died in Egypt. All burnt alive in the Cop church. Like, and they're with better places now, and they're, you silly sodomites. And so that's why he supports kiddie killing, rapist, murdering, mafia, Sinn Féin. Or Pope Francis. peaceful, loving, understanding, merciful, most high seat pontiff of Christianity. I never spoke against the church, even in my writings when I was writing. Like, the Mahan family will tell you that, 'cause they stole my writings. They became very powerful and influential with those writings. And powerful is more than just literature. If you've ever seen the Addams Family, it's much more than literature contained in those books. But I was saying that there's weakness in numbers. I have no memory, and you've no rivers. Literally no memory. I have no memory at all. Every 2 seconds, like Memento. Every 2 seconds, I'm like, what the fuck was I just doing? And you've drought. You've had the drought. It flooded my aura. It flooded your cities. Flooded your homes and towns. It was like a burning bush, and I could do nothing about it. My hometown was burnt down. Ha 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 he ha ha ho. My privation, Francis. He also from my holidays. What was I getting on to, Francis? Frankie football, fuck Frankie. Oh yeah, I never spoke against the church. They had actually said that I used to be against everything. Everything. Just to shake up people's ideas, just to give them some antithesis to the antithesis they assume in life. And I was never against the church. But I just can't get enough of it, man, and fuck Frankie. So yeah, Christianity, or the Church Vatican, never changed. I thought it changed around Constantine, but they just realised the sword of Felicia was going to consume the earth, and they may as well be in charge of it or in control of it. More so than the empire, like they will replace the Roman Empire, and it did. It will consume the entire world, and it did consume the entire world. So they just got behind it, and they didn't change their motives or moralities. They still are Christ-killing, murderous, persecuting gypsies who will hunt, devour, and destroy angels on earth. See if it's common procedure, and that's just the way they have it. Angels come to earth, and Francis will just hunt them down, persecute them, rob them, and cheat them. He took half my holy fortune, Francis. I've seen the pictures in the Louvre of John the Baptist and the 3 pictures to follow after of all the old men. Marble fucking basilicas. Like, I know what I've got coming to me. I'm not going into holy perdition, standing next to the river with my reed rod, Francis. I've got my reed rod, I think. I did it with a rod of iron. Those Rockefellers and crap will judge you with a rod of, a rod of quartz or something. I'm not sure what the fuck it is. Crystal, actually. They meet you at perfection a lot, and they'll hold you down with them. Francis does this as well, keeping you all at bay. Hold you down with a meter of perfection. They're constantly smashing society down with a meter of absolute perfection. It's like, yous are heretics and heathens if you're not perfect. And it's like, there's going to be a little travel time in between here and getting perfect, and if I'm not there, holding me down to subjugations of perfection is not going to get me up off my feet and get me there, is it? Not exactly helping. Not a sign maker. You're just beating me down for not being there already. That's terrible. You wouldn't even know about bicarbonates or anything. So for Frankie, what else have I got to say? The blind. I made a blind man see. His name was Achilles, and I was in the psychiatric unit, and I made a lame man walk. Well, I didn't make these things up. These happened in my presence. I'm not a miracle worker. I'm just always around when the miracles happen. But yeah, so you can tell Francis isn't my friend either, because he's still blind and lame. He doesn't. They have this thing, Holy See, and what is Holy See? Holy people see a lot. You see a lot of stuff when you're a holy person. Authentically and genuinely a holy person, you see lots of cool stuff. Not as an incentive for you to be a holy person, but you want exactly what it'll be. It won't be sincere and genuine if you're doing it for personal reasons. Holy See, he doesn't see shit. He doesn't see anything. He gets the Serpent Express. He reads the Serpent Express, as I say. He's got serpent goggles on. He spends most of his time entertaining Miley Cyrus. He's some sort of devil worshipper as well, actually. He's some sort of, Allah Akbar kind of means like, your stupid lord over this world is nothing, not even a tenth in compared to lords of lords, and and he still just worships the snake or serpent thing. Like, maybe Islam will help me chop him up. Holy Inquisition on the Vatican. Yeah, I want my walls, you know what I mean? I'll turn it into Jericho and I'll tear your walls down, friends, like I am. I'm destroying Italy. It's very easy to destroy. It's hard to destroy France for a while. They're healing at the moment. Smashing Italy to bits, so yeah. Elijah and Jesus could do the exact same thing. You can tear down cities and destroy places. Smashed Florida there a week or two ago. I was like, I'm going to sink you. I'm going to fucking sink you, destroy you. Yeah. He also said, like, I was starving in a ditch on the side of the road when the whole world neglected me, screwed me over, ripped me off, and cheated me, and I was starving in a ditch on the side of the motorway. And I was screaming, I was like, all the churches in France will burn. And sure, they were enough there, then the homeless service next morning, just me there sitting there miserable, Notre Dame burning on TV, suddenly lifted with the energy of God's greatness and dancing around for Notre Dame burning down. I even wrote a song. The Wu-Tang, on the way to the Bloodhound Gang. It's on my YouTube page. You can find it earlier on. It's called French Starving Prayer. But it got blocked for on age restriction. It's nothing really bad about it. It's fucking hilarious. Still very proud of that song. Some person called it the most heretical piece of music ever written. Fuck cranky. Yeah, so your Pope's like an atheist devil worshipping psychopathic merchant, and fornicating with Miley Cyrus. He's Scarlet as well, so that means he's fornicated with my wife, the wife of the Lamb, and or my mother or my children. So all your Christian bread is now Scarlet. I'm trying to escape that one, Frankie. So what else can I tell you? What was I going to do as Pope that the Pope doesn't do as Pope? His job. Persecuting Christianity while claiming to be Christian. Yeah, I've already said this before. There's a backwards peace sign on your local church, or Catholic church anyway, and that's Antichrist sign. Like Christ is the 1/3, or 3 working all together would be perfectly ideal, like the Mercedes logo. But 3/1 means 2 crows and a church kind of thing, a pseudo church dominating Christianity. That's why they have it on their back. So if you all put power into Jesus, you remove their power. Everyone in the world, of everybody in the world. Well, that's actually a history of lordship that you need to pay respect to. And sadly enough to tell you, is this little gunky little hippie right here in front of you isn't part of that procession now. So, yeah, you're going to have to admit to let me, and Jesus as well. But then that's how you take the power back. I'm likeable. I don't mean to compare myself to Jesus, but they tried to murder me 14 times. They tried to disembowel me. It crucially examined me, and I don't die. It's not... Well, it's in heroic moments in the story, but the whole gospel truth's going to come out 8 years ago, you know what I mean? He's had like the gospel truth last time, it was only about a month or two of 3 months maybe of crazy stuff going on, maybe a year, 8 years for the kids to study this terrible gospel of shame, disgrace, scandal, royalty, buggery. My torment, yeah, that's all you'll be doing there. Frankie has a whole section. He's going to be like a evil Herod or something like that by the time it's all revealed. What else can I say about your gypsy church, Francis? I was homeless and they gave me address. He's like, well, where are you living? It's like, I'm living in a tent next to that old church up on Bray Head. And he just demanded us into such a very, very, very coolly, very awesome. Gave me an address saying tent next to the church, tent near the church, TNTC. I used to love that. I just go around showing people like my welfare receipt. They check out my address, tent near the church. It's so poetical, tent next to the church or tent near the church. Because I don't have a church yet, but I'm next to it. I'm sure that's a biblical tent next to the church, tent near the church. Israelites nearby Egypt. Yes, okay, Frankie. Frankie. And then today about the old blind badger before I go. Oh yeah, they have it upside down. That's just that's an Antichrist symbol. And I'm just going to say this, as it is a poetic man, I'm not insinuating anything here, but it says in the Revelation of Jesus Christ, the most amazing piece of literature, one of the most amazing pieces, the hottest piece of literature. I can't believe they distributed it, but they realized that their balls were cursed for suppressing his teachings. They even said, if you add or take from these teachings in any sort of way, there'll be ramifications. So they put the revelation of Jesus Christ in the Bible. I can't believe they did. The amount of stuff, the material the Vatican would suppress, but they distributed that. But they were cursed heavily. Their balls were cursed and everything was cursed if they prevented or persecuted or concealed these teachings. It says in this book that the Antichrist, basically, not even anti-prophet, the people that suppress the prophet for selfish, childish reasons. But the actual Antichrist, you think he's a good person, doing you a lot of global stability and favour, and he'll pat you on the head. He'll pat or bless you on the head, and he'll do this in the name of 666, which is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit hath understanding. Not as geometrical figures, but perfection. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And that's what Francis, the Catholic Church, do. They bless you on the name, and bless you on the head in 666. And they make you worship the image of the beast. So I go into my church and I see the head of John the Baptist in my local church, also with a crown of thorns, and I see Jesus. And they both look similar to the image. Because there's loads of transfiguration going on back then, and it's weird. There's loads of transfiguration going on. And they transmorphed anyway, and so there's the image of the beast, and they make you worship the image of the beast, both executed, defecated, and crucified. So they make you worship the image of the beast. Islam don't do that, you know what I mean? People, they find the image of Muhammad sacred, and they're like, if you see King, Muhammad is prophet. Prophets are delivered when a lord gets ripped off or destroyed, and hundreds of years later, exactly like Muhammad is a Christian prophet. So was it 1500 BC, 1500 AD? Christianity, once again, with the Vatican Church, has fallen into probably scarletry and perdition and tribulation. And Moses is very similar to Muhammad. Showed up and told them why it's happening and how to save themselves from the predicament, and that's Islam, baby. So you saved Christianity from being Islamic. So they saved all of yous. Yes, Muslims. Muslims on Ramadan made all of your Christian life splendid, and we thank them by blowing up the Middle East and killing them all and stealing their stars. Islam, the hard efforts, pains, protections, considerations, protections of the women, the family, their friends and family of Jesus Christ. Once they were happy and safe, and the Lord's holidays are being respected in some sort of way, then Jesus could very happily work with you in these days. So Islam made your Christian little world splendid. Wasn't Walt Disney, you know what I mean? But those kids did appear. Disney kids did appear, starry kids did appear because Islam, the Lord was working with you because of Islam. And then what did you do? Is gobble them all up again, and you start killing Rivers Cuomo and Kurt Cobain and all the other kids that had stars. Stardom, starry born for stardom. And they'll just cut off their fucking heads and fornicate with their wives and steal their royalties, and that's what the Vatican Church does as well. I was waiting. Every time I emailed the church, it broke my heart. It hurt my heart every time I emailed the church. Or the Catholic Church and the Church of Ireland, Protestant Church, both blocked me. Most people blocked me, emails and calls. But it really broke my heart emailing the Vatican. Anytime I emailed the Vatican, used to do just stabbing pain in my heart. Like, there's a little sign for you about your fucking church. Yep, so there's found reflection and respect in rapist, murderers, mafia, because they are themselves a rapist, murderers, mafia. I don't know why they wouldn't just work with me and hear me. Probably because I wouldn't have liked what they did. I would have moved for total reform. Like, I was supposed to be sent off to Davy Rockefeller to work with them in New Ray in New York City. And I remember hearing David Cameron say, "Yeah, good luck, kid, you last about a day." And then I thought twice. And I was like, what does he mean? Like, killing kids, I kill all the time. But if I had gone and not been afraid, like Jesus went into Jerusalem on his donkey and wasn't afraid, I would have just told them, taught them better. I was like, "No, you got it wrong, man," or "Someone told you wrong. There's no few ways about this, there's only one way about it all, and you got it wrong. You're being a functionalist gypsy. You were tricked into doing this probably by someone very clever for their convenience or for your self-destruction." And I would have taught them and tried to make it better. I was like, "I'm not trying to make you look stupid here, man, but I'm not messing, like, you are not doing yourself any favours." But yeah, I don't know, the Pope just wouldn't have me. I was nominated for the friary and all this kind of crack, and they still wouldn't have me. I don't know why. I swallowed a fly. Do you think it died? So yeah. Gypsy Pope is probably the Antichrist, always has been. Distributing Christianity, not actually Christian. Cares more for what's written on girls' tops than he does for 900 Christians being burnt alive in a church in Africa. These people were probably killed again because Christianity is being corrupted by Damien Rockefeller and the Rockheims and all these people. Pope don't care at all about it. It's just like distribution and competition to him. Like, they're coming to Ireland now and they're painting Ireland, so they're cutting you off from your Christianity and they're privatizing. Basically, private companies are taking you away from your Christianity, replacing Jesus in your life as pharaohic slave drivers. You know, you're not with the Lord, you're not free with the Lord, you're with a pharaohic slave driver. So Ireland is entirely a burning Hebrew bush of slaves. Francis don't care. I just comment to Francis. I was like, oh yes, no, they're slaves to them and they're slaves to them. I was like, aren't you supposed to save and protect Christianity? And nope, you don't. You don't care at all. You don't care if any American has been enslaved by a pharaohic monster from Miami. He doesn't care if, because it's pretty much his game as well. You know, despite the pretense that he's the head and pontiff of the Catholic or Christian Church, he is just another slave driver. Obviously, that's who he's working with. Yep, Revelations with John. I'll destroy your walls, I'll destroy Italy. Where's your pogo? I already am destroying Italy. You let me go to Italy. You leave me my little tower and my ashram where I can be concealed and I can interpret Torah. And it's so simple. That's how we do Potiphar, Francis. That's how we do Potiphar. You receive me. Now, when you receive me and I'm coming in off the plane, I wouldn't mind being dressed as Lord Vader and having the entire entourage there to welcome me. That's how you really receive Ra. You know, that's how you receive the Lord. You know, that's time with this shiny black and the Imperial Death March blaring, and he's on an Imperial cruiser ship or whatever, and he's coming in. Lord Vader, my torment, of course. Yes, good. Bring me to myself. We have the princess. Ah, my children are safe. My Death Star is almost complete, fully operational. That's how you welcome Raz, you know what I mean? Get Prada or someone working on it there, Franco, you know what I mean? All the costume design and, you know, my Vader suit. You know that thing on the back of the Vader suit? It's one that kind of like a gin and tonic pump. And gin on one side and tonic on the other coming up. So I can just be steadily pacified all the time. It's strange things that the lords have to do, you know what I mean? But yeah. So it'd be so easy just to put me in my little ashram in the fucking walls of Jericho there, Frankie. And let me sit around with a fucking cool few Hebrews and Josephine brothers and rap on some Bible and give a global metaphysical or cultural and spiritual advice to the world. Because if Potiphar is a world office, you won't have famine all over the world, Frankie. It's very simple. Simple solution, Frankie, isn't it? It's in Genesis, Frankie, if you've ever read Genesis. It's in Torah. It pretty might be Genesis. This is post-Exodus. It's in the Torah, Francis. If you've ever read Torah, Francis. I doubt he hasn't read Revelation of Jesus Christ, because I think because he drinks so much blood of saints and martyrs. You know the way they do that in Christian church? They drink wine and people are like, why don't we drink the wine? Because they murdered him. We didn't murder him. They're drinking the blood of saints and martyrs for they deserve it. It's a punishment. But they think, oh, it's a privilege. We deserve it. And it's like, no, you fucking deserve it. You kitty-killing, fucking Christ-killing gypsies. So that's why they drink wine. Because they deserve it. You don't deserve it, so don't feel so bad about it. You wouldn't have killed him. Well, actually, the people who did try to kill me in Ireland, you can get what's coming to you. Piss artists, profane artists, and Francis was working with these people, praying backwards all day, you know what I mean? Anti-St. Patrick. PJ, his little merchant orphan. What was I getting at? I can't remember. I don't know. I don't know. I was thinking of Bond enough here in a Christian church. He'll give me my little. I own the Vatican, man. I own Aruba. You know, I own Manhattan. I don't know what the fuck I own. Excuse me. Very much along the lines of Christ or Christian. It's like I don't believe in ownership. That was the problem. It's like I don't believe in ownership or possessions. Where you can own anything or compete. It's just mutual agreements between stupid humans on covetry and possession. So they're like, oh, great, we'll take all your property and money then because you're such a hippie. I was like, this probably happened to Jesus or something as well. Wasn't tempted with the Holy Fortune, wasn't tempted with women. And all the merchants and all the merchants and Babylonian bastards like, oh, that's convenient, we'll take it. And they probably got into a habit of this. They'll usually be very celibate and very, you know, Taoist or non-materialistic or something. It's like, oh, that's convenient. We'll just take all your money. Just leave you be a wandering schizophrenic crying alone in the wilderness. But then he doesn't die. Even so, and now I don't die. So, you know, Zebedee can spy on me from a distance, but I'll probably get on great with James and John. Frankie. And I mean, oh, yeah. Have you ever read? Yeah, that's what I said. You've probably never read these books. There's a whole Bible full of this, Francis. You'd love it. You'd really like it. Within the Torah, you know, the Torah, the important section, that's how they fixed it very easily. You know, Joseph was put down the well. Just one person was put down the well. The future of Israel was put down the well. And the whole world fell into famine and perdition and starvation because he was down the well for 7 years. You wouldn't believe it, the whole world. I'm like, well, the religion's very real, Frankie, isn't it? The whole world went to absolute crap. More famine. There was no war because he wasn't at war. There's a lot of war in my temple. There's Armageddon in my temple, so there's not going to be a lot of war on earth this time. But that's how it. It got him out of the well, Frankie, and he gave him a simple little office, and everything under his office prospered. And there was no famine in Egypt. The irony of the Torah, you know, that Egypt saved the day, is hilarious to me. I don't know if everyone else finds it absolutely hilarious. Did so much to get away from Egypt. They destroyed what they achieved, and then Egypt saved the day. Rivers contain me, you know. Lady of Japheth. I'm at home, Francis, basically. I'm a prophet at home, and I'm not supposed to be at home. Just something Jesus said, so I wanted to put Jesus as one explicit determination to rest and have someone collect me from my family home. Also, as John, I was told to take care of my mother as my own mother and the mother of Jesus, so it's hard for me to not be at home and taking care of my mother. Well, I've got great faith in him, but still, I'm pretty sure he used to try to murder and clone and replace my family already. Not to get too paranoid about it, because you do that a lot anyway, Francis, don't you? You called in all the presidents of Europe there a while ago, and you probably fucking doppelgangered a few of them. Again, he's a merchant. No, he's a businessman. Malkuthi merchant. Malkuthi monkey. So, yeah, Higgins is probably a clone. I think he was an American clone, but now he's a Vatican clone. Either way, I'm not getting helped with the monsters from Miami, or they're all just similar merchants. Just chop off their heads, Frankie, if I was you, know what I mean? They're kitty killers, but then you're a kitty killer too, aren't you? And the whole network of kitty killers isn't going to be revealed, and it isn't going to fall, and you're going to drag everyone down to holy perdition while you're coveting your lies. There's only one gospel truth that's going to save the situation. That's just gospel truth. That's someone found on my YouTube channel. There's only one video there, and it's called "For Your Balls, Francis, and Your Balls, Higgins," and I tell the silly little arbitrary tale of how this all started and the Great Reset happened, and how everyone flocked to find me. And he's found me and told me, Veni Vidi Vici. I remember that was funny, and the very first day or something, that was something that came by me, Veni Vidi Vici. Came, I saw, I conquered, as Julius Caesar saw. So they all came to me. They saw me, or took photos of me, or filmed me. I'm filming myself too. And then Vici is victory. Victory. So they win or victory. They didn't win. I win. IWIN. They Veni Vidi, and then Veni. And I'll take your scarlet hands one day. Shop. Tell your friends. Fuck Frankie.